This program is brought to you by Rogers Xfinity, connecting you to more of what you love. Visit Rogers.com for more details.
Hello again, everybody, and welcome to episode number 39 of Living Well, Giving Well on Rogers Television, Grey County. I'm Fred Wallace with co-host Denise Reid. Our host charity today is Huron Shores Hospice, and we'll be talking a lot about Huron Shores Hospice because our guests today are Maria Riggin and Will LeGrand representing Huron Shores Hospice. Coming up in the program today, we'll also take a bit of a time out and we'll have a feature video today spotlighting Habitat for Humanity. Before we meet our guests and get talking to our guests today, Denise and I always like to start by telling you what Living Well, Giving Well is all about, or what we believe that it's become to be all about.
Yeah. I mean, once again, first of all, I have to thank you for coming back, right? Last week was the first time you'd been back for the month you were off. So I think we're a better team together because I stumbled through by myself there. But living well, giving well, I mean, it's kind of self-explanatory, but it isn't always just natural thought processes for people. But how can in our community live well? And if we're living well, can we give well? And the concept came with Willard van der Ploeg, who's from the Bright Shores Foundations, and Stuart Reid from the Community Foundation. And how can we be in our community? How can we give? Whether it's monetarily wise, whether it's volunteering, where and how can we make it a better place?
Yeah, and Denise certainly has her charities and interests, and I do, and some of them are similar and some of them are not. We're not necessarily looking for you to support our charities. We're looking for you to support what's important and what's near and dear to you, and that might be a church organization, a service club, it could be the Canadian Cancer Society, or any one of our sponsors, including Habitat for Humanity or our guest today. And to that end, it's time to meet Will and Maria to talk about Huron Shores Hospice.
Yeah. How about Will? We start with you, Will.
Well,
give us a little background.
Thanks so much for having us on today. I'm Will LeGrand with Huron Shores Hospice. I'm our community engagement coordinator. And Huron Shores Hospice is a 2-bed residential hospice located in Tiverton, Ontario, as part of Tiverton Park Manor. And we provide compassionate end-of-life care at no cost to residents of the municipality of Kincardine, Saugeen Shores, Huron-Kinloss, and the surrounding areas. We also provide things like grief support and end-of-life planning workshops. And part of that is we have a group of trained and certified end-of-life doulas like Maria here.
Maria. So he's given a little bit of your introduction.
Yeah, what an introduction.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because we were fortunate to have Will on here on another show, right. And I had to ask our other guest, what is a doula? Can you give that to us first?
Right. So a doula, an end-of-life doula, is somebody who helps a person who has a life-ending diagnosis plan for their death and helps them through the process.
And I can already tell just by your demeanor that I think you're great at it. I don't know. I think that soft, that compassion, I can feel that already.
Oh, thanks.
And I just wanted to know, like, you're with the hospice. Do all the hospice have life like doulas? Life ending doulas?
I'm actually not sure of that.
Okay.
It's something that is growing in popularity. Okay.
Yeah, I would think it would be beneficial, right?
Well, certainly the need is there, right, Maria?
Yeah.
How did you come to it? How did you know that this might be or was for you? And can you give us a bit of a background on the amount of special training that you have to do to be a doula? Because as much as I think that I could be a compassionate guy, I'm not trained to do it.
So I've been in social services for many years. I had a 40-year career in child protection, and I was a supervisor for the last 20 or so. So you can tell I like people.
Yeah.
And I'm not afraid to go into situations that are a bit unknown to me. So you mix that together with the fact that my mom died in a hospice, and that's actually what made me join the hospice care team, initially as a comfort care volunteer. So I did that for a number of years, and I would do one-page profiles. And so I would go to people's homes or to their residence, like if they were in a long-term care residence or something like that. And I would interview them about, if you were to come into hospice, what would we need to know about you? Because everybody's path is different. Everybody's path is different. So what would we need to know about you? Who's important to you? If you're having a really good day, what makes it a good day? If you're having a bad day, what would make that a bad day for you? How would I know if you're having a bad day, and what could I do to help you? And then you add into that the things like, what kind of food do you like? What kind of drinks do you like? That kind of thing.
So are these patients or people that have contacted the hospice, or how does that work then?
They've contacted, they have a doctor.
Okay.
And some of them have nurses out in the community who will contact.
Okay.
To contact our,
because this is all
our
before. This is all way like before a patient ends up in the hospice.
So that's the ideal. The ideal is to have somebody who will walk the path with a person way before they enter into the hospice, so that we have a chance to get to know them outside of the hospice. And they're typically cognizant at that point in time and can make some decisions and tell you in their own words who they are and what they're all about.
Do you remember your first experience as a doula and the background surrounding that?
Yes, I do. I had done a number of one-page profiles prior to becoming a doula.
Okay.
But the first big experience I had, I remember that really clearly, because the person was not at home, but in a residence. So I followed her from her residence to the hospital, to the hospice. And actually, it was from her residence to the hospital, to long-term care, to the hospital, to the hospice.
So your familiarity was sky high.
Yes, and I got to know her really well, and over a number of months. I think it was 4 months that I knew her. Yeah.
So how do you guys relate to? Like, do you because I'm just going to show I don't know. Do you ask what programming do you need? What do we do? What do you guys do together then? I guess.
Specifically, so I'm more on like the community side of things for like promotions and fundraising and just trying to build the profile and connect with our donors and show the impact. And so I fortunately get to interact with Maria more when she's in her comfort care volunteer role, which is sitting outside of the suites at our hospice and providing that non-medical support, that emotional support. So we'll see each other in the hallways and say hello. But really the end-of-life doula team is more collaborating with our executive director as well as like our resident care committee.
But I mean, for you promoting your hospice, it seems like it would be a wonderful asset to have end-of-life doulas.
Oh, absolutely. And that's why we're really happy to be here today and talking about the end-of-life doulas, because it's not something that we talk about as much as other things. You know, it is a kind of specialized service we offer, and that, you know, people, are connected with our doulas on the basis of their diagnosis. But I think more than anything, it just speaks to this holistic care that we're trying to provide at Huron Shores Hospice, where we will host a death cafe to make people more comfortable with talking about death. we can have end-of-life planning workshops where they can start to figure out those logistics for end-of-life. And if they receive a diagnosis, they can be connected with a doula like Maria, and then they can kind of walk with them through those months before maybe they're admitted into hospice.
Yeah.
And afterwards, we provide grief support to families and loved ones who might have been connected with that person.
The doulas actually run the end-of-life workshops, which are free workshops that we offer in Port Elgin and Kincardine, and then we choose another smaller community that we might run the free workshops at.
What's the reception like?
Great.
Okay.
Well,
Yeah, great, Fred.
no, really, it's been fantastic. And I think in the beginning there was a little bit of, what's this all about? But the word of mouth is something else. So at our last one in Kincardine, I think we had, how many?
We had more than 70 people there. And
Fabulous.
in our 3 spring workshops, we had more than 100 people attend the workshops. We also have the resource booklet, the workbook available online as well. And it's just something that, like, in our community, in that little side of Bruce County, people are having more and more of the conversations, and they're kind of taking the plunge into, you know, talking about death and planning for it. And the doulas like Maria are so crucial in guiding that conversation.
Is it an exciting process? Because it's almost contradictory that we're talking about the end of life, and yet you're offering this service that is making that ending something better, something good.
Well, it's exciting insofar as that people should have a say in how they approach the end of their life. And we're all different, and we all want different things. And sometimes you need to ask the questions. So both of my parents are deceased, and my mother, who was super healthy, was the one who got cancer first and was at a hospice in London. And my mom was really quite shy. She became a nurse. She was a Dutch immigrant and became a nurse when I was in school. And it was so great to see the care. There's no overhead paging, and I'm not putting down hospitals, but it's a completely different thing. And I just thought, I need to help with this later on. So then we fast forward a few years, and my father gets ill. So by then I'm retired from my career, and we brought him to Kincardine, and he was in long-term no, he wasn't in long-term care. He was upstairs in residential care, but it was during COVID. So here we have, my dad was very outgoing, someone like myself. So we have this shy person. What does she want? After, at the end, she says, Maria, you and your sister make sure that there is a lot of food for the people. It was all about the thing afterwards for people to come together.
Yeah.
My father, who I thought he was a band leader, who always wanted a big bash for this and that. I thought for sure that that's what he wanted. Nope, he wanted nothing. But what he wanted was for me to sit beside him and dial people on the phone, and he had a wake while he was alive. And I thought, as the daughter, I would have thought that it would have been somewhat the opposite, you know.
Yeah.
So it made me wake up in terms of, you have to ask the questions.
Right.
What do you want?
Well, and we've talked in lots of episodes that when it comes to conversations of dying, it's a very, whether it be, you know, even with my husband, you know, when we talk or don't talk, ooh, that's not going to happen. Mm-hmm. Or to talk to our children. You're giving the example of your mom and dad. I mean, I think my kids know me, but maybe they don't too. And what would they want? And it is always nice to be able to have a say and be able to, you know, oh, I think that's what I would like to do or not. Mm-hmm. And then have that relationship with end-of-life doula.
Right. In 2 instances, what part of my job for the client was to help them organize the spiritual part of things.
Right.
So during COVID, it was really difficult, and a lot of different pastors stayed in their communities if they were somewhere else. So, you know how funny things happen? I was doing some work at Trillium Court, which is the tertiary care place in Kincardine, and I was doing COVID screening. Meanwhile, my client had asked, I said, is there anything you would like me to do? She said, if you could find the pastor that was at our church, I've lost track of her.
Okay.
And I'd really like to talk to her because I am not a pastor. You know.
No.
So here I am at the desk, and this lady comes in, and she has a collar on, and she has the same first name as the person who was asking about this person. And I said, are you Bonnie by any chance? Like Bonnie, the pastor from such and such a church? And she said, yes, I was there. And I told her who was looking for her and connected them together. So she went to visit my client and sorted out all of that aspect.
Isn't that terrific? This is Living Well, Giving Well on Rogers Television, Grey County. Our guests today are Maria and Will, representing our host charity today, which is the Lake Huron or Huron Shores Hospice. Our feature video coming up will be spotlighting Habitat for Humanity. Please stay with us. We'll be back with more with Living Well, Giving Well in just a moment.
Hi, I'm Lisa Campbell, and I work with Habitat for Humanity Grey Bruce as their partnerships manager. Habitat for Humanity Grey Bruce is a nonprofit home builder dedicated to serving communities within Grey and Bruce counties with an affordable home ownership model. Qualifying families purchase Habitat homes with zero money down, interest-free mortgages held by Habitat Grey Bruce. We also own and operate 3 retail Restore locations in Owen Sound, Port Elgin, and Hanover that sell new and gently used building materials, appliances, and so much more to support our cause. Habitat Grey Bruce offers a rare opportunity to actively participate in reconciliation with First Nation people of the Saugeen Ojibwe Nation. This model of hope engages, educates, and empowers participants while building relationships through learning, experiencing, and working together. It's no secret we are experiencing a global housing crisis. In Grey and Bruce, 1 in 4 houses are unaffordable. 1 in 7 residents live with low incomes, and over 1/3 have lost hope of ever owning a home. Together, we can offer a solution. Habitat for Humanity has incredibly unique funding models. 100% of all donations received go directly into building affordable housing. Your donation doesn't just build houses, it strengthens the very fabric of our community, changing lives in Grey and Bruce for generations to come. Your support, be it a one-time gift, a monthly pledge, or a legacy in your will, lays the foundation of hope for countless families. It's more than a donation, it's a commitment to a future where everyone has a decent place to live and call home.
Welcome back to Living Well, Giving Well on Rogers Television, Grey County. Fred Wallace and Denise Reid here on episode number 39. Our host charity today is Huron Shores Hospice, and the feature video that you just saw representing Habitat for Humanity, and you saw the webpage there. You can get all kinds of information. They're always looking for volunteers on the build site, and you might think that I'm not a plumber, I'm not a drywaller, I'm not a roofer. They have experts there that will guide you, and as the old saying is, many hands make light work, and that's all about Habitat for Humanity. So we thank them for their support of Living Well, Giving Well. Our guests today are Maria Riggin and Will LeGrand, representing Huron Shores Hospice. Before we came on, Will, we were talking about how busy things are at Huron Shores Hospice, and obviously you were smiling because things are busy good.
Yes, we've received some really exciting news this year at Huron Shores Hospice. It was a commitment for funding for us to open up a 3rd bed in our hospice, which means being able to offer more care to more people. And there's still a lot in the works, but it is just so tremendously meaningful to receive this kind of support from the ministry to continue offering compassionate end-of-life care in our community.
I mean, that's exciting.
It is major news, and we are very fortunate to be able to rise to this occasion and continue to serve.
Well, and we talk about it. I'm sitting here trying to figure, how did you get so lucky to have end-of-life doulas? Because we're not sure, as we said before, is this at every hospice?
You know, I think we are very fortunate to have a strong spirit of volunteerism in our community, and that it was just all the stars aligned to bring all these great people into the same rooms to have these conversations about how we can continue to support people at end of life. And just with our leadership being just so thorough and kind of finding these different angles, the concept and the role of the end-of-life doula just naturally emerged. And as Maria said, she started out volunteering in another capacity and then just continued to grow and expand in her role and becoming a doula. And that's a similar story for others as well.
And to add to that, I would say that Cheryl Cottrell, who is one of our founding members, was one of the people who gave impetus to this.
Okay.
So they received some money for somehow or another, or money was set aside to train some people. So we had to apply. Those of us who were interested had to apply and go through an interview process about why we wanted to do that.
How big is the team?
We have 4 members who are doulas. And then we also meet with Kathy Herbert, who is the ED, quite regularly.
ED?
Yes.
Our executive director.
Okay, all right.
Sorry.
Yeah. I said education director, so no.
Sometimes it's different to different people.
Yeah.
So no.
Denise and I are out of the corporate world.
Yeah, that's right. So
you're specifically trained, and you're specially trained to be a doula. How rigorous a training session is it? Can you describe that? Because I'm sure there's lots of people, male and female, young and old, who might aspire to what you're doing.
Sure. So we started with INELDA, which is an internationally based program out of the States, and it was online training for us because there wasn't much available when we first started. Since then, it's kind of exploded, and so we get hooked up for training through different doula organizations.
Okay.
So we can apply to that and get some training, and we share with each other and give each other books or ideas on books. So one of the really great ones that I read was how does that go? Plan for the best, hope for the rest.
Okay.
Which was a really good, so you can plan as best as you can. And it's an easy to read one. But
yeah, I'm still trying to think, I mean, when I think of hospice, I think of already being there, already in end of life.
Yeah.
But we got to think ahead.
Really do.
Right?
Need to think ahead. So people are typically good at planning like wills, like that kind of thing. But are they good at really planning what they want? So one of the people that I worked with was a super planner. But what she wanted help with was planning the actual funeral part.
Right.
So I did that together with her, and we went so far as to pick out the hymns.
Wow.
Because we knew each other, actually.
Okay.
So,
yeah.
And we were in the same choir together, so we were able to pick out the hymns and like, oh, that's too dirgy. No, I want this one.
But
that
usually,
kind of
you know what? Usually, I mean, that's the family trying to figure it out.
Right. And she did not want that for her family. She wanted them to be present and not worrying about that aspect that she could still control.
Right.
She wanted to give them the gift of not having to worry about that.
Right.
Not worrying about the production of the funeral.
Right.
Okay.
So, but this is so. When they contact you, it's if they're they have been diagnosed with.
Right.
It's not, and who knows, you never know, right? But I can't just say, oh, can you help me with this? I don't have an end-of-life disease. Or
There is a whole thing that the nursing staff and the doctors and everything look at to see how close you are. And usually when the number is around 50% capacity, and they look at all different kind of aspects of like ambulating, eating, drinking, like how close are you, like blah, blah, blah. Then the doctor or the community nurse can make a referral to the hospice. And that's what triggers the referral.
I was trying to figure out how do we get to
I might do, I might go to somebody's place and do their personal profile and explain what a doula does. And it might be put off for a period of time. Or some people might jump right on it at that point.
Are all the doctors and nurses aware of this? Like in your community, are they aware of this?
They should be aware, because we have one medical center, and Dr. Gunaratna, who is our, what would you call him?
He's our medical director.
Right.
Okay.
MD.
And there we go.
Medical director. They all work together.
Okay. So I just,
different doctors might have different ideas about it. But certainly Dr. Gunaratna is good
on
at
board.
that. Yeah.
Very good. Will.
And the other thing, when you're asking about how people can kind of get involved and get this support while receiving that kind of direct support from one of our doulas happens after receiving a life-limiting diagnosis and a referral from the medical director. Our doulas have worked very hard in developing our end-of-life planning workbook, which is going to really kind of provide sort of a lay of the land of all these things to consider, and it is a way to really kind of engage in those kind of...
And it's on your website,
It's on our website and available at our workshops that we host in person.
We're running out of time here. This has been a fascinating conversation. Thank you, Maria. Thank you, Will, for being here. Before I let you go, let's talk about grief. Tell me about that program that's on the horizon in a day or so.
Oh yeah, so our Let's Talk About Grief is a drop-in grief support program that we host every month. We do have an 8-week structured grief support program called the Grief Recovery Method, but some people can't commit to that kind of program. But every month you can come to the Huron Shores Hospice office and receive complimentary grief support. It's just another aspect of that kind of holistic care we're trying to provide to our community.
Well, congratulations to you both. Before we let you go, did we miss anything, Maria?
The one thing I wanted to say, it's not just planning at the beginning, but when a person comes into the hospice, we will have worked on things like guided imagery. So if they're in a lot of pain or feeling really anxious, what will calm them down, and we work on that. And the last couple I've done, people ask me for it. They say, "Can you do that with me right now?" We will do that. We do some advocacy work at times, but everybody's path is their own path, and we walk alongside it. And we walk alongside the family as well, because the family plays a big part.
We've got great walking companions. Will and Maria, thank you very, very much for joining us today. Our host charity today is Huron Shores Hospice, and you can
Connect with us by visiting our website or email us at comments@rogerstv.com.
You're watching an interesting local show on Rogers TV and you want to know more. That's when you head to rogerstv.com. Our website provides more information about our programs, our hosts, our schedule, and about how you too can get involved with Rogers TV. Visit us online at rogerstv.com.
Are you a passionate content creator ready to expand your audience reach? Do you have unique stories, captivating hobbies, or special interests that deserve a spotlight? Rogers TV is here to amplify your voice within the community. We offer you the platform to broadcast your content